Amen. Hello there. I want to share just the way I had hinted some time back in a video I did, which is uh, among the many videos that I've done. I want to first of all say that we live in a world that is so unpredictable. And now, when life is unpredictable, it means we need to get to the foundations so that we are able to understand how to handle situations that come every time. And so I want to just go to some thoughts I've just been collecting and putting together. This is a report by the United Nations. It's called the UN Demography Report for 2019, that is. And it talks about its first quarter. They published it in April 2019, so it's one of the latest researches. And it's really fascinating to look at a report like this, especially talking about the man. And it says that there are 7.8 billion people on the planet. 7.8 billion. And so the report goes on to say that out of the 7.8 billion, 5.6 billion are women. 5.6 billion are women. And so you are left with what? You're just left with 2.2 billion men. And as if that's not enough, actually that's to tell you, like, men are few apparently. And then, so we are told that 1 billion men are already married. 1 billion men are already married. And then 130 million are in prison. You know, men, quite a number of them are being convicted of petty offenses, and eventually they go to jail. 130 million are in jail. 70 million are mentally ill. In other words, they have these mental problems, mental disorders. So ni watu ambao kichwa si sawa, so the brain is not working well. So that leaves us with about just about 1 billion men. And among that is the available number. The available number of men as of that time who are able to bring up families. Now, in that, as if that's not enough, in that, 50% are jobless. 50% are jobless. 50% of the men are jobless, meaning it will take them a while to settle down since they don't have a job. So they get married. So you see how it's this thing is going. And then 3% are gay. 3% are gay. And then you have like 5%, they are Catholic priests, so they don't get married. And remember, the other group that is gay, it's about gayism and homosexuality, so there is no procreation of children for that matter. And then, of course, the Catholic priests, they don't get married. It's a choice. 10% of these men are relatives, as in these are your relatives. So you cannot get married to any of them. And then you have 35% are above the age of 66 years. So these are, like they're almost done. So the other, whatever percentage we are looking at was 50% of the 1 billion who are available, but they are jobless. So quite a number of them are not able to settle down, and most of them fear. Why have I just said this? I've said this because there's such a problem involving the man or the boy child for that matter. And we are seeing situations where these men are either living carelessly, or they are brought up badly, or they are not given the best environment for them to be able to thrive. And so it keeps them wondering whether there is a future. And so that's why I want to say that we need to protect the man. Remember from the Bible, the man is the seed carrier, is the one who carries the seed. And if he carries the seed, then that seed has to be protected so that there is continuity, there is progression of children. And so if we continue mishandling men, if we continue taking men for granted, if we continue mishandling them, and ultimately if men themselves continue living that way, there's one I did not say. I think there's a number that is that are given to alcoholism, and that's one thing that if you look at the statistics, the people who are affected by alcoholism are not actually the females, they're males, that the boys, they're the men. And so this thing is really eating up our society. My contention here is that we need to find a way of going back and looking at the young boys and trying to bring up in a way that they respect women. And if you look at these, like those who are in jail, they're in jail because of most of the offenses. I was just looking at the news a couple of weeks ago. There are so many young men who are being sentenced to 5 years, 7 years in jail. And so others 20, 15 years. So imagine somebody who is just about to get married at 25 or 27, then he goes in for 10 years, for 20 years. By the time this guy is coming back, his best years are just behind him. But the hope we have is that God can really turn around the situation. But he will turn around the situation if we choose to, as men, to behave well, to understand that we carry a very important, we carry the seed that is for continuity. And so I'm urging men out there to stop misbehaving, to rise to the occasion, to, stand firm, to decide on the kind of life that we are going to be living. Otherwise, we will be extinct. And with as things appear, and by then you can go and Google the UN demography report 2019. That is the first quarter. It shows you that men are endangered. And so that's what I want to say, that we need to really see how we can help the man and the boy, for that matter, to be able to rise and live out the life that God really intended them to live. Okay, I think that's what I had for now. Let's see what happens next. But for the men, take care. Let's avoid living carelessly. And we know that God is with us in all things. I've done this on a very lighter note, just to give you those statistics, and you can find out more. But we need to have a conversation of men and on how we can really help the man be the real man that God created. Thank you.